19 years at the same industrial fastener distributor in Columbus, same beige cubicle wall, same stress ball shaped like a globe they gave everyone at the 10-year anniversary luncheon. You were up for VP of sales this spring. They hired a 34-year-old from outside instead, someone who'd been in the industry 4 years. Nobody says anything cruel to your face, that's almost worse. You clear your desk into a single banker's box on a Wednesday afternoon. A photo of your kid's second grade class, a coffee mug with a chip on the handle you never got around to replacing. The globe stress ball is the last thing left on the desk. Your kid used to spin it every time you brought her in for Take Your Child to Work Day, calling it the world ball in a voice too serious for a 6-year-old. You almost leave it on the desk for the next person. You don't examine why you can't. You leave your badge face up, the way you'd leave a tip. $214,000 between your 401k rollover and a taxable brokerage account. No plan beyond that number, and the specific, quiet certainty that you are done trading 20 more years of your life for someone else's decision about who deserves a title. You drive home a different way than usual, rehearsing, without meaning to, how you're going to explain to an 8-year-old why dad doesn't have an office anymore. You don't land on anything good before you pull into the driveway. Acquisition 1. The first business that taught you a broker named Frank Del Vecchio, mid-60s, shows you 11 listings before one of them makes sense. Meridian Exterior Services, a commercial pressure washing and building maintenance outfit with 14 recurring accounts, the largest being the parking lots and loading docks for a regional grocery chain. Asking price, $310,000. Trailing 12-month EBITDA, $96,000. A 3.2 times multiple, which Frank tells you without much drama is fair for a business this size in this industry. You structure it the way the SBA loan officer walks you through. $248,000 through an SBA 7A loan, a $46,500 seller note from the retiring owner, $15,500 of your own cash. You sign a personal guarantee that makes your hand pause over the pen for exactly 1 second longer than it should. Your first morning as owner, you ride along with a 2-man crew at 6 a.m., watching them pressure wash a loading dock behind a Kroger, and you don't say much. You just watch how the work actually gets done because you've never once done it yourself and you don't intend to pretend otherwise. Acquisition 2. The deal that finally paid. 18 months later, Meridian's cash flow has covered its own debt service and put $61,000 in your pocket besides. You're ready for something bigger. Buckeye Mechanical Group, commercial HVAC and refrigeration service, 6 technicians, contracts with 2 hospital systems and a regional restaurant chain. Asking $780,000. EBTE, $214,000. You hire a CPA, Renata Ostroff, to run a real quality of earnings review this time. Not just trust a seller's spreadsheet the way you half did with Meridian. $585,000 SBA loan, $117,000 seller note, $78,000 cash, most of it Meridian's distributions. Combined, the two businesses are throwing off close to $14,000 a month after debt service. You are, for the first time in your life, making meaningful money without being the one doing the work that makes it. The challenge. The week everything broke. 11 weeks after the Buckeye close, your best technician, a guy named Curtis, 11 years with the company, the 1-3 commercial client specifically asked for by name, puts in his 2 weeks. It turns out the original owner's non-compete was drafted with a radius clause a lawyer could drive a truck through. Curtis takes 2 of those 3 clients with him inside of a month. Then your refrigerant supplier, squeezed by federal phase-down rules on the specific refrigerant blend half your service contracts depend on, files for bankruptcy. Parts you need are back-ordered 6 weeks. You start keeping the globe stress ball in your laptop bag around this time. You don't decide to. You just notice on the 4th call with the SBA loan officer that week that you're squeezing it under the conference table hard enough that your knuckles ache after. Payroll for both companies comes due on a Friday, and you are $38,000 short of covering it. That same Friday is your kid's back-to-school night. You miss it, you're at the bank until 7:40, wiring $22,000 of your own money to cover the gap. Your phone shows a missed call from her afterward, then a voicemail you don't listen to until Sunday because you're afraid of what an 8-year-old's disappointed voice is going to sound like. When you finally play it, She just says she got a picture of her desk to show you later. That's it. That's the whole message. You sit in your car in the bank parking lot longer than the transaction took for reasons that have nothing to do with the $22,000. Acquisition 3, the fix you should have made first. You do the next one differently. Ferris Precision Components, a small CNC machining shop, 9 employees, contracts with 2 aerospace adjacent suppliers. $540,000, asking $165,000 EBITDA. This time, you have your attorney draft actual enforceable retention agreements before you ever sign a letter of intent. A 2-year stay bonus for the shop's lead machinist, the kind of person Curtis should have taught you to protect the first time. You also let the seller carry more of the deal than you strictly need to. A $162,000 note instead of the smaller one Frank originally floated, trading a slightly worse rate for meaningfully less bank leverage. $324,000 SBA loan, $162,000 seller note, $54,000 cash. You close it in a conference room that smells like machine oil through the walls, and you don't feel triumphant. You feel like someone who just installed a smoke detector after the first fire. The compounding, when it started looking real. By the time all 3 are integrated, combined EBITDA runs close to $475,000 a year. Monthly distributions land around $28,000, more than your old salary without a single sales quota attached to it. You form a holding company, Vantage Point Holdings, LLC. Mostly for the tax structure, partly because it makes the thing you've built feel like it has a shape instead of just being 3 separate messes you happen to own. You start looking at bigger deals, conventional bank term loans instead of just SBA, businesses with real enterprise value, the kind that would have terrified the version of you clearing out a banker's box 3 years ago. You don't know yet that the next one is going to test all of it. The fall, the deal that almost took the house. The deal is an industrial uniform and linen service, $2.4 million, financed heavily, a $1.9 million SBA loan carrying your personal guarantee on top of the guarantees you're already carrying for Meridian, Buckeye, and Ferris. The guarantee is secured, in part, against your house. 2 months after close, you learn the thing the diligence report mentioned in one line and you underweighted. 61% of the business's revenue comes from a single regional hospital contract. 9 weeks in, that hospital terminates the contract to bring laundry services in-house. Cash flow doesn't just tighten, it stops. For 6 weeks, you're in your accountant's office more than your own, negotiating a forbearance agreement with a bank that holds a lien against the house your kid has grown up in. You drain $150,000 of what's left of your personal reserves to keep payroll running across all 4 companies at once. You carry the globe in your jacket pocket now, not your bag, close enough to reach without thinking about it, and there's a worn patch on one hemisphere, right around where South America is, where your thumb has rubbed the paint dull. Your kid, 11 now, asks you one night at dinner, not upset, just direct the way 11-year-olds are. Are we going to have to move? You tell her no. You believe it when you say it, mostly. You don't tell her about the lien or the forbearance meetings or the $150,000. You go stand in the garage for 4 minutes afterward, alone, before you come back inside like nothing happened. You get the forbearance. You restructure the uniform company's debt, sell off its smallest regional route to a competitor for $310,000 to shore up cash, and you survive it. Not because you were lucky, but because 3 other businesses were still generating enough to buy you the 6 weeks you needed. You are not the person who signed that first personal guarantee at Meridian anymore. You just spent 6 weeks proving it to a bank instead of to yourself. Quiet accumulation. The part nobody sees. 11 years after the banker's box, Vantage Point Holdings owns 11 companies. You stopped underwriting on customer concentration alone a long time ago. It's the first thing your team checks now. Before price, before multiple, before anything. The combined enterprise value per the valuation your CPA ran last quarter is $400 million. You drive a 5-year-old Honda Accord with 61,000 miles on it. You still live in the same house, the one that had a lien on it for 6 weeks. Nobody but you and your accountant ever knew about mortgage paid off 3 years back and never mentioned to anyone who doesn't already know. Your kid graduates high school in June. You sit in the 4th row of folding chairs in a gymnasium that smells like floor wax, and when they call her name, you clap the way every other parent claps. No different. No signal that the man clapping is worth $400 million. That night, packing up her room for the move to college, she finds the globe stress ball in the back of your desk drawer. Dust on it, the paint still worn thin over South America. I forgot about the world ball, she says, turning it over once in her hand before putting it back exactly where she found it. You don't tell her what it was for. You don't need to. It's just sitting still in a drawer now, which is more than it's done in 11 years. You didn't build something to show anyone. You built something that finally let you put it down.